President William Samoei Ruto is a man under siege. The DP has been betrayed by a man he never imagined would betray him. A man he supported fully. And a man who promised and committed to support his presidential bid. And the DP has gone into hiding. The DP is mute. Nobody in this country understands what the DP is thinking about. Kenyans can only speculate that the DP is re-strategizing, that the DP has been subdued. But the DP is missing. He has been betrayed. Now let me just show you how the deputy president has been betrayed. Just very briefly. Uhuru Kenyatta promised to support the DP. But Uhuru Kenyatta is currently the one leading the onslaught to stop the DP. And the DP is well aware of this. He stated it clearly during the burial of the late Kenyan. And the boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, kicked out all his allies from the Senate leadership, and again is also targeting them at the National Assembly and even within the cabinet. So that one is a betrayal enough to make the DP go into hiding. But the DP has also been betrayed by people he believed would not betray him. Senator Samson Cherargei, the Nandi senator, refused to pick phone call from the deputy president. He actually missed 22 phone calls from the deputy president. So it's like the deputy president is calling you 22 times. You can't tell me that this guy didn't see the missed calls. He did this so that he could not append his signature, as the DP had wanted to save his allies, Kipchumba Murkomen, and to save Susan Kehika. There was Shingishu Senator, Professor Margaret Kamar, also betrayed the DP. This is the senator representing the deputy president at the Senate. She went to State House and signed to kick out the allies of the DP. So that's a betrayal. Nominated Senator Naomi Jilo, for example, the nominated senators, most of them, who are nominated to those seats courtesy of the deputy president, are already disowning him. Senator Zawadi was the first to write a letter. Senator Naomi Jilo Wako has actually gone ahead further and is suing Susan Kehika for forging her signature. Remember, her signature was one of the few signatures which the allies of the DP were relying on to dismiss the election of Samuel Pogisho. So it's a betrayal. David Sonkok, a man who has been singing praises of the deputy president. The moment he saw what was happening to the nominated senators, he's actually a nominated member of the National Assembly. He has changed tune and looked for one man called Minor Commander and hosted him. And after that, this man sang very sweet songs in favor of President Uhuru Kenyatta. You would not imagine that this is a guy who just a few days ago was talking like this.
Tuko tayari kwa uchaguzi. Tuko tayari serikali ivunjwe. Yes. Tuko tayari kwenda kwa debe. Yes. We enjoy 80% of the support of Kenyans. Yes. Wakimwaga ugali tunamwaga kitoweo. Yes.
Central Kenya is also mute. They've abandoned the man they claimed to love. Central Kenya is very quiet. They are not defending the DP the way they used to. I'm told the radio stations there, which have previously been used to advance the agenda of the DP, almost all of them have changed tune and have started hitting at the deputy president. So the DP is betrayed. And I want to give you a picture. There's a group called Inua Mama, a group which was formed or founded by the DP to counter the embrace. The DP has invested heavily in these women. When these women were called to come and defend Susan Kihika the other day at Parliament, how many turned up? Just a handful of them. Again, confirmation that the DP has been betrayed. And because of that, the deputy president has remained silent. But yesterday, 3 former senators emerged. Former Senator Hassan Omar, former Machakos Senator Johnson Muthama, and former Senator Boni Khalwale. So these 3 senators emerged and issued a hard-hitting statement targeting President Uhuru Kenyatta. For those who understand politics, that was the reaction from the deputy president, William Samoei Ruto. And I know the feedback from that press statement has been different. There are people who believe that Boni Khalwale ought not to have been in part of that press conference. But that's the deputy president reacting to President Uhuru Kenyatta. So today I want us to look at why the deputy president has actually gone and picked the former allies of Raila Odinga to help him during this difficult moment. But before we do that, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, please take a second or two and hit the subscribe button. Now back to the main issue. Yesterday, Hassan Omar, who actually was the face of that team, issued a very strong statement. And that statement, for the first time, didn't have the name of Raila Odinga. But that statement had the name of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and it also had the name of the president's brother. So why is the DP changing strategy? It's now not using the usual Team Tanga Tanga guys, but now using these former allies of Raila Odinga. I have 3 or 4 reasons only. Number 1 is that the DP has now finally realized that the enemy is President Uhuru Kenyatta. And that enemy is not Raila Odinga the way his allies have always made him believe. And because the DP knows and understands that his allies from Central Kenya cannot face the president directly. For example, Moses Kuria is likely to be recalled. It's going to be recalled unless it changes. So he went for these guys. Let me just read for you a part of that statement, which I found very interesting, and probably that's the strategy which the DP is going to use moving forward. Let me just read for you. Where is it? Yes. A part of that, yeah, it's here. That statement by Hassan Omar, Muthama, and Boni Khalwale was titled "A Call to Action. We must continue our fight for freedom and resist autocratic tyranny." Now that's that was the headline of that statement. But in part of it, there's an area which is talking of the question why. I only want to focus on that. Let me just read it in verbatim. Disguised as emerging coalition arrangement and its resultant government of national unity is a consensual and calculated scheme by contracting, in quotes, parties to have a Kenyatta succeeding Uhuru Kenyatta. You get? A Kenyatta already, that's Kenyatta family, succeeding Uhuru Kenyatta with the promise of a piece of the pie. Yeah? So the idea here, according to these guys, is that the whole thing is to have a Kenyatta succeeding Uhuru Kenyatta. Whichever. So in the event that the country cannot be subjected, in the event that the country can be subjected to a referendum to enable a powerful executive prime minister, then Uhuru Kenyatta will be the prime minister. So they are alleging, if the country will be subject to a referendum, and in that referendum, the country will emerge with a powerful prime minister, then Uhuru Kenyatta will sit as the prime minister of the Republic of Kenya. So it's continuing, in the event of a watered down version of a prime minister, Muhoho Kenyatta, Uhuru's younger brother, will be prime minister. So you see, now they have created a narrative, and basically the idea here is to advance the narrative of dynasty. That if it will not be Uhuru, then the brother has not expressed any interest in politics, but is continuing. For this, they need a president who will play ball, a card dangled to the contracting parties. So I believe here they are talking about Raila Odinga. But because in this statement, they really didn't want to mention the name Raila Odinga, so they have to use that. So just listen to this. Standing in the way of a Kenyatta succeeding a Kenyatta is the Deputy President William Ruto. So for the first time, they are now acknowledging that Ruto is the problem, which has been identified by the Kenyattas. And that's why Ruto is being fought. So contracting our conventional ethnic sensibility, William Ruto has boggling and overwhelming support over Kenyatta in Mount Kenya region. A scientific research, keen observation, and common sense attest to this. And this one here, as much as I respect these editors, I think they are cheating also themselves. The notion that the deputy president has more support than President Uhuru Kenyatta in central Kenya is something I will never buy. I will never buy that. The fact is, if Uhuru and Ruto were to contest in central Kenya, as much as they love him, and ultimately central people will see Kikuyu in them. They will see the oath, and then they'll vote for Kenyatta. If anything, by the time Ruto was joining Uhuru Kenyatta, it took Uhuru Kenyatta a lot of time to convince the Kikuyus to embrace or to even accept Ruto, because they believed Ruto burned them in church. They believed Ruto maimed some of their people, and they believed Ruto was responsible for their evictions from their lands in Rift Valley. But that's now water under the bridge. But the fact is, Ruto is popular in central Kenya. If he competes against Raila Odinga in central Kenya today, he will whitewash Raila Odinga very early in the morning. But if he contests, say, against someone like Fred Okengo Matiang'i, then that question might also change. No, that's not even Uhuru Kenyatta. So that's the first thing. Ruto is now going for the Kenyatta family. Because by hitting Kenyatta family, that is hitting the heart of President Uhuru Kenyatta. So that's the first reason why he's going for these people. Because these are people who are, Hassan Omar is someone who is clean. Let me use that term. You can't find a scandal, any single scandal touching Hassan Omar. So he can easily talk about the Kenyattas without any fear of tax evasions, corruptions, nini. You will not even hear him taking money from anybody in politics. Muthama has been chosen because he's a firebrand politician. He was a darling of the NASA supporters. So the idea here is simple. These guys, they were darling of the NASA people. So at least when they speak, NASA people will listen. But Boni Khalwale is already out of equation. People don't, if you follow the comments on Twitter, on Facebook about this statement, most people were in agreement that Boni Khalwale ought not to have been part of that statement. But again, he's a former senator, a colleague to this guy. Also, Boni Khalwale, give him credit. He was a wonderful senator, a wonderful member of parliament. So they are the people who can attack the Kenyatta family. That's number one. Number two, I think the DP is an isolated man. And these guys had to come to his rescue. So basically, we are now seeing a possible alliance coming up. The question is Muthama representing Kalonzo Musyoka in this? Because Kalonzo, that's another question. Yesterday, one member here, a member of this channel who comes from Ukambani, was telling me he's actually the youth commander in Kitui. He calls himself, he's famously called the youth commander of Kitui. So this guy was explaining to me how Kalonzo is fighting Gilu through MCS. Yeah, and Kalonzo is projecting himself as pro-Uhuru Kenyatta, while all his members of parliament and even the MCS down there are advancing Ruto's narrative. He was telling me that. So the question is Kalonzo in Tanga or is Kalonzo with Uhuru Kenyatta? So basically, we are seeing a possibility of William Ruto unveiling his next alliance. So Hassan Omar is likely to take over coast because the people who are tasked with that have failed. Moha cannot. Mohaji Chopevu cannot. Aisha Jumwa, I think, they have finished her. So only Hassan Omar at the coast. Then we can now talk of Kalonzo Musyoka down there. And also there's the talk that Musalia Mudavadi is also keen on joining the deputy president. So that's number two. Number three is the betrayal. I think the DP has realized that some of these people are only pretending to support him because they are benefiting or they are gaining from him. That's why they were very fast to disown him. People who are loudest in making noise were very fast to disown the deputy president. And I think he has figured out that if he continued like this, then these guys will go with him. Then when the right time comes, then they'll disembark. So I think the DP has realized that there's a betrayal in politics. So he doesn't want to take a chance with especially members of parliament from central Kenya and even members of parliament who just support him because he's sustaining them every week with the allowances, stipend to go for rallies and the rest. Number four, I think the idea also is that the DP is trying to bring new blood into his team. I think the face of Moses Kuria, Ndindi Nyoro, Alice Wahome, Susan Kihika, Oscar Sudi around around the deputy president. It's not boring. These guys have been with this guy for long. Every time he tries to raise anything, these guys are always the one seen to be defending him. So I think he's now changing a strategy so that the people who are defending him are actually not the usual faces. So he's now coming up with the new faces who are likely to start defending him. And lastly, I think it's also about Jubilee politics. The DP is well aware that some of these people, the moment they raise their concerns, some of them are likely to be targeted. So to shield them, he had to bring new team to deal with the Kenyatta family. Again, in Jubilee politics, assuming you are Moses Kuria and you are now going against the president, that can even lead to a recall. And some of these people fear that recall because I know the intelligence already know. Some of these people might just be, 80% of members of parliament always don't make it back. So the idea could be, these guys Ruto is more popular, some of these people, in their own areas. So they are actually just riding on the back of the DP. So the DP fears that the intelligence has this information. And if a recall is effected, then they'll be defeated. And lastly, it's also a strategy to dissociate from Jubilee government. Those other people who have been supporting Jubilee are also the same people who've been castigating Jubilee failures. But Kenyans have always been asking themselves, they've been supporting this government, they voted for this government 3 times, they've been defending this government. So they can't now claim that this government has failed because the government has disowned the DP. So the idea here, the DP is bringing people like Hassan Omar, people like Boni Khalwale, people like Johnson Muthama, who have never been part of Jubilee, to talk about the weaknesses of this government. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, the best thing you can do is to hit the subscribe button now, so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And because we are targeting to reach 100,000, and we are hitting 70,000 probably by a Monday, help me reach 100,000. Simple. Just share these videos to whoever you can. Just share them. But there's a request I always make here. Always remember to hit the subscribe button. I mean the like button. Just like the video if you like it. If you don't like the video, give it thumbs down so that we can always get that interaction. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.